his security briefing, with his intelligence briefing that he got. He's just gotten 2 of them, you know. And if I can think, the Donald Trump, the way I have him pegged, my opinion of this guy is that would have been one of the first questions he would have asked. Hey guys, tell me here, have you looked into this thing about Obama being a Muslim, born not in Kenya? Tell me the truth about that. You must have looked into this. This guy snuck into the White House, right? Tell me about this. You're fired. Oh no, excuse me. Yeah, tell me about what happened. That's one of the first questions. Can you imagine what the Donald Trump intelligence briefing was like? Tell me about UFOs, guys. What is it? Tell me about Area 51. Who killed Kennedy, guys? Can you tell me? That guy's probably in every whacked out crazy question this guy's asking. I can just imagine this nut. But I would not be surprised if it came up. Listen, Mr. Trump, we got to tell you. They probably call him Mr. Trump too. Listen, Mr. Trump, we have to warn you. You're making a lot of wild accusations about the President of the United States. He's not, we looked into his birth certificate. In fact, he is CIA. You can't tell anybody this, but he's a CIA creation. That's why his paperwork doesn't jive the way you think it should. And Trump probably, fell off his chair. And now what's he going to do? He knows the truth. Now what's he going to do? He can't come out and say, well, the reason I say this is because I was told in my intelligence briefing. But did he have any reason why he changed his mind? Did he give any reason? Consider my hypothesis and think about it. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, and they repeat this over and over and over and over and over and over stuff. Again, with Barack Obama and the birther movement. I looked into this before I ever had a radio show. Now, the one thing that sparked my attention in all this is the business about his Social Security number. I don't have all my detailed notes in front of this, okay? But this is mostly from memory that I just threw together some notes tonight before the show. There was a question about a Social Security number that it traced back to someone else. It was like a 70-year-old man, I believe, in New Hampshire, some kind of thing like that, or New Orleans. And we know this because a politically active private investigator got his Social Security number off of a Baskin-Robbins employment application. I guess when Barack wanted to work at Baskin-Robbins when he was in high school or something like that. And he ran that Social Security number, right? And he found out that it traced to the wrong state, to the wrong age, to the wrong guy. Now, I got to tell you, that happens all the time. There's nothing uncommon about that. And what went on with that is that a couple of the numbers were inverted, okay, which is so common with Social Security numbers and date of births and all that happens all the time in data entry, And so when you search for some Social Security number, sometimes they'll come up with, this number is associated with 2 people, and then you'll see it's because a couple of numbers are inverted. There's a mistake. There's an error. But what really strikes me in that whole scenario is that you can't just run someone's Social Security number for no reason. When you go to have acts, you can't do it because, you have to have a reason to be able to get the database and access to these databases to begin with. You need a license. You need a process service license. You need a PI license. You need a bill collector's license. You need a legitimate person. And they check this stuff out. And nowadays, you can't even do this from a home office. You got to have a separate office, and then your computer's locked away, and they change your password like every day now. You got to jump through hoops to be able to get one of these accounts now to begin with. I'm all grandfathered in. But to get one of these new accounts now, it's a big deal. Okay, and they make you jump through hoops. And then they audit your activity. Like if I was to start running searches on people like Britney Spears, right? A week later, I'm going to get a letter. I'll go to log in one day and they'll say access denied. And because it's going to flag an audit. Okay? Because you're not allowed to do that. And when you go to do a search, you have to give them the reason for the search. There's a little checkbox of different reasons, a beneficial legal benefit, investigating fraud, different reasons why that are permissible to do that search. there is no permissible reason for this private investigator to be running searches on Barack Obama's Social Security number, even if you had a client. Okay, and they audit this, and then you have to explain to them why you did it. Here's the client, here's the retainer, here's the guy, here's the court case we're involved in. You can do it, if you can back it up. Now, this guy's running these searches on Barack Obama's Social Security number, and you never hear about him losing his PI license or going before the PI board or losing his access to his database company. You never hear about any of that. So for some reason, this guy was allowed to do that, and I believe that was to create this fake story that's this whole mystery about Obama, that he's somehow not some kind of foreigner or something. I don't know what the plan is behind that, but I see no. And this is another suspicious thing that comes up in this. Now, the other thing you see very often is this business about this college ID card with Obama that has the name Barry Soweto, and people, they pronounce it Soetoro, Soweto. They pronounce it all these different ways, No one can even pronounce it the same way twice. But it's a 1981 college ID, Columbia University ID card. And it's supposed to be a picture of Barack Obama with this different name. But if you look at the 1981 college ID card and compare it to a real Columbia University college ID card, they're totally different. And I can get into a whole thing about that. Because I actually had a little business back in New York right around that same time, making they were called novelty IDs. But we had a little business because they changed the drinking age around that time, and so I had a little business where I would make these novelty ID cards, and we used to copy the college ID cards. So I'm very familiar with that process, and I'm totally not impressed with that whole Barry Soweto, Soetoro, Columbia University, 1981 ID card that so many people point to. That I think it's even been debunked on many levels, and not just by myself. But people still point to that, people in alternative media, who love to, never bother to check facts. Then there's the stuff about people examining the scan of the birth certificate using this Adobe Photoshop experts, as they're called. There are real document examiners, forensic document examiners, real handwriting experts, real document experts. And I worked out of an office when I was a kid where the guy was, a documents examiner, a handwriting examiner, the documents examiner, and there's a whole level of expertise in that again, I've never seen applied to, a Photoshop Adobe expert, I'm totally unimpressed with that investigation as well. But I will say this, there are many anomalies in his paperwork, college transcripts, different things that make no sense, okay, with Barack Obama. But that leads me to believe not that he's a Muslim terrorist, okay, and not that he's a, foreign-born guy that snuck in to take down the United States, all this kind of crazy talk, and be a socialist Muslim who created Obamacare, all this craziness that this theory travels down this road. But more, in my opinion, backs up the theory that this paperwork is questionable because it's a CIA creation, and that's my opinion as far as that goes. Yeah. Okay, let's take a little commercial break. I'll be right back after these messages with more and more fun games and surprises here at the Oppenheimer Report. It takes a village, Bertha's Body Doubles, real heroes and hope. And now a word from our sponsors. Did you know that 30% of all people on online dating websites and personal ads are either married or in a monogamous relationship? 30%. If you suspect that your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend may be cheating online, go to emailrevealer.com. On our online infidelity investigation. You give us their email address, and we could trace it back to online personal ads, dating sites, and social networks. We can even expand the investigation and find them cheating on escort service sites or even porn sites if they're registered to porn sites and swinger sites. So check out emailrevealer.com if you suspect your spouse is cheating, and check out our online infidelity investigation. William Ramsey is a producer here at the Opperman Report, and he's just come out with a new book, Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. Now, he just sent me a copy of this book. Oh, boy, it's about 2 inches thick, and there's a chapter on just about everybody in this book that you can imagine. The Beatles, and Jack Parsons, everybody's in here. It's incredible. And I definitely recommend this book. There's a bunch of pictures in here, too, of all these people and different chapters and information. Anselm LaVey and people I've never heard of, too. There's a whole bunch in here. JFC Fuller. I don't know who he is. But it's great stuff by our producer here, William Ramsey. So check out Children of the Beast, Aleister Crowley's Shadow Over Humanity. You can find it on Amazon.com, or you could find it in the Opperman Report.com bookstore. We have an urgent bulletin. It seems that the group Strawman is still on the loose. It has been confirmed that Strawman are Canadian, okay, and that authorities are asking people to stay indoors, lock your doors and windows until this group can be dealt with. You could find more information about this group of Canadians, at strawmanmusic.com. You can have your ad played here. Okay, we're looking for sponsors. Okay, in fact, we desperately need sponsors right now to take this show to the next level. So you can have your your ad played here, read live, like I'm doing now, so artfully. Or we can even work up a little jingle for you with some music and stuff like that and play it here. You have no idea how inexpensive it would be to have your ad played on the Opperman Report on 7 stations live Friday night and another 7 stations live on Saturday night, plus replayed every day of the week on different stations, and then archived on YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and all different kinds of podcasts, Pod This and Podbean, all different kinds of places who archive the show for us. And on those archives, your ad would play indefinitely, forever. You also get a little banner on OppermanReport.com. You get a mention on the air, you get a little interview on the air, and all kinds of fun stuff if you sponsor Opperman Report. We have an opportunity to get this show on a major AM/FM station in California. We've been approved. So if you want to sponsor us into that, so incredibly inexpensive that your ad would be heard by the range covers 5 million people in population where your ad would be broadcast, and all these other stations would be thrown in for free. So really affordable prices to sponsor OppermanReport.com. Get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You can get a copy of that book at emailrevealer.com, or you can get a copy of that book now. It's back up on Amazon.com. How to Become a Successful Private Investigator by Ed Opperman. And this book has been updated a little bit from the previous book that we had that was available to our wonderful listeners. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Now, I want to dedicate this portion of the show to a couple of people. One is a local brother here in Nevada, a local activist. I don't want to give his whole name. His first name is David, and he was a Nevada delegate